FPM3 Marketing is with us here in studio. Tanned, and you've been outside. You're a working man today.
I am. I was a working man. The whole crew at FPM Marketing today, we were out at Lifesaver Park. We were cleaning up and laying down the wood chips. We planted some flowers and removed some graffiti, and we actually tightened up the fence line there. You know, I learned something today. You know, people probably don't accept this, that CN Rail is actually federal property.
Yes, it is.
And as I'm standing in the park, you know, where Lifesavers Park is, it's right across from the CN Rail area.
It is.
I'm watching people with their dogs, and they're crossing the rail there. And, you know, if you get caught, and there are CN Rail police, these are actual federal officers of the government, and this is what I'm learning today, you can get a actual fine, a ticket, and it's a hefty one. Trespassing, yeah. And that's not a trail, but so many people walk past that on Sutherland there in Cumberland that it's now groomed a trail up the escarpment. But if you get caught, you actually will get a ticket. So we sealed off a lot of the fencing, and we kind of tied that off and got it all set up and ready to go. We got our power park and charge, solar powered little pole there, all cleaned up. So there's going to be a few events coming into Lifesaver Park in the next little while. So it's all ready to go. So if you're in the area, it's all clean. FPM Marketing staff went down, cleaned it up for everybody.
It's Sanford and Cumberland, right in the center of the city there. And somebody asked me the other day, because you were talking about this a month or so ago, they said, why do you call it Lifesaver Park? The factory right beside it is where they used to make Lifesavers, the little candies.
That's right, yeah.
And you know, there's a process for how the name parks, you know, and somebody said, well, what are we going to call it? What's that over there? It's the Lifesaver. Oh, call it Lifesaver Park, I guess.
If I'm not correct, it was, from what I understand, the property was part of Lifesaver's factory, and they donated it to the city, and then they gave it the honor of naming it after them, am I right?
Exactly.
So anyway, it's a beautiful little park, and it's all cleaned up.
And it's some of the great stuff you do in the community, too.
Thank
you guys at FPM3 to try to give back in such a big way. Listen, I got to ask you about Netflix. I mean, this is something that a lot of us are getting into right now. And everybody's jumping up and down about this. There are people that are coming up here trying to challenge them right now. Netflix is feeling pretty good about themselves right now and kind of flexing their muscle a little bit.
They are. And you know what? And good for them. You know, we're hearing a lot about all the features that we have with Netflix. And really, for the cost of what it takes to actually download and watch, you can download your programming. They've given a little bit of a headache with the upgrade. So if you root your phone, your Android, it actually will disconnect the Netflix. So you have to actually go back to the native operating system. But the one that they're actually doing right now is, and like anything, how do you know how much the value is worth? And one of the tests they're doing right now.
What should we charge?
What should we charge? I mean, really, you sit back and there's a lot of market research when they do this.
Oh, yeah.
So how Netflix is doing their market research is they're going down to Australia and they're playing with the prices. So what they're doing is right now they're doing a market. Why Australia? I don't know, but maybe it's a good isolated market. In Australia right now, if you have Netflix, or if we have any listeners from Australia, you're probably realizing that they're increasing your fees on all levels by 50 cents. They said they're going to increase it by just a little bit until they actually start to get a lot of people barking back. This will set a precedence for all Netflix, by the way. So the bottom line of this little story I share with you is expect a price increase on Netflix. I don't know when, but when the Australians start to bark, that's going to give us a little idea of how much they're gonna increase it to.
And thanks to our friends in Australia for taking the heat and the hit for this one too. So we'll be the beneficiaries of this.
That's right.
We'll say enough was enough, mate.
That's right. We're not going to take it anymore. All right, that's it. That's perfect.
Okay, that's where we set the bar.
We set the threshold. People will accept this.
All right, this is I guess this is right now. This is art being imitated now by cyber stuff. Artificial intelligence.
Yes, that's right. It's taking a whole new step. And we've seen this with we've talked about VR. We've heard about the police services really integrating a lot of technology. And, you know, we've talked about police cars and what they're coming with. I mean, there's even talks of announcements of how police cars are like turning into the Batmobile. You probably, I think we were talking about that on CHML in the last week or two, where they're sending out now GPS installers to track down high speeds. But one of the new things they're actually going to be testing right now is going to be artificial intelligence that is going to actually determine if you're a repeat offender. So what's going to happen is a police officer will be actually taking your information when they sit with you, and they'll go through all the, you know, who you are, was your first time offending, and the computer will diagnose, okay, whether or not you're a repeat offender. They claim on minor crimes that it is right now a 95% accurate on repeat offending. So this could be something they're going to be, it's a testing again, but it's going to be more or less rolling into the market where you could be pulled over. Remember Judge Dredd, the movie with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah.
This almost reminds me of this, except instead of the judge being the judge and jury and making his own decision, what's going to happen is queries will be discussed. It will be inputted into a system. They'll be able to connect you with your social media. They'll take a look at your history, connecting this database, and we'll be able to make a determination right on the spot how you should be reprimanded. So they may say, you know what, you've just got caught for example, shoplifting. The computer will artificially claim that you have a 98% repeat offending situation. Therefore, we're gonna have to put you in jail. So I mean, it's actually scary. I mean, I hear about GPS tracking and chasing down high speeds. I'm like, that's nothing, folks, compared to what they're going to be able to do. And we're going to let a computer determine the actual determination of whether or not you're going to repeat your crime or not.
Okay, what's this about multiple passwords now? I'm starting to see these crop up.
Well, we've heard a lot in the news. First of all, ransomware, malware, all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not going to stop talking about it. It's going to be one of the hot topics right now.
The big story last weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when we heard about what the whole ransomware and Bitcoins and where they had the cry anywhere and, with everybody getting shut down and a lot of hospitals are being affected otherwise. But right now, Apple's trying to really enforce their security. And as such, third-party connection apps. What that means is when you've signed into maybe a program on your iPhone, your iPad, or otherwise, you use an account, iCloud. When you connect with it, you use your password. And now what happens is it says, do you want to use your iCloud account to connect to your, and you say yes.
Yes.
What's happening is now they're going to force you another password. So what you can still connect with your Apple. All that does is identify, yes, you're legitimately who you are, but now it will actually prompt you to create another password. So all iPhone and iPad Apple users will probably have to start using a second password for a lot of the apps you use, your third-party apps.
Can you decline?
Well, you can't use the software. Yes, you need to.
You can decline. You just can't use the product.
You can't use the product. Correct. Yes,
Okay.
It will limit your ability to actually use it. Yes.
All right. Well, and it's all for our own good anyway.
That's right.
No, it is.
It is. Well, and you know what? The thing is, you can't use the same password. One of the things you might have realized if you've gone in and said, oh, okay, I'll use that password I used maybe last month. They're actually keeping a log of every password you use now, and they're saying, sorry, you've already used that one. And that's a smart thing. How many times have we heard Yahoo gets hacked, Gmail gets hacked, and now all of a sudden it's like that password you forgot about or used 5 years ago, someone still has access to it.
All right, you're just talking about the big attack last weekend, ransomware, and the things that occurred and the implications of this.
Yeah.
This is a bizarre story. They have now actually set up a program now to help people pay the ransom.
Well, here's the thing.
Are you kidding?
I know this from listeners on CHML and people I've spoken with many times. Bitcoins, we've heard of it. But right now, if I said to you, even now, Bill, if I said, hey, Bill, why don't we go for dinner? Tell you what, it's 1 Bitcoin. Can you pay? I know for a fact, because I know Bill very well, folks, but Bill would say, shh, I know what it is, but I don't have one. Okay, well, Bill, I want you to go get me a Bitcoin. Do you know how to get a Bitcoin? No. You and everybody else doesn't know how to get a Bitcoin.
I do know there's a store on Spadina Avenue.
Yes.
In Toronto that says Bitcoin on it. And I guess they have them there.
Well, and FPM marketing, FPM3, by the way, we accept payment by Bitcoin. But where do you go get a Bitcoin? How do you pay by Bitcoin? Unless you're in the industry and you understand it very well, you don't know how to use a Bitcoin. And I'm speaking on behalf of pretty much 98% of the population. Now, I, by the way, have, Bitcoins because I'm in the tech business, and I've used it when we make payments overseas with a lot of companies we work with in Qatar, United Emirates. It's actually the most secure way to do business that way. However, let me go over a little scenario.
Which is why the blackmailers use it.
Right. So what's happened is now they're ransoming. And as an example, a lot of the reasons people are going, I'm not paying your Bitcoins, they don't know how. And so what's happening is hackers have set up a help site that you can actually learn and educate yourself about about the Bitcoin. So think of it as almost like customer support for ransoms. So you more or less get a warning if you get a ransomware or a little warning coming up on your computer screen. It's a red screen. There's a timer on it, and it says, the Cry Anywhere or whatever the last malware situation. Yeah. You've got this much time to pay, say 50 Bitcoins. If not, you'll lose all your data and information. Yeah. Well, now will be a link that says, if you need help to get a Bitcoin, click this link and we'll walk you through. There's actually YouTube videos that actually have that computer automated what's Android.
What's the link? Yourscrewed.com?
I don't know. I think it's actually just Bitcoin, okay. How to use Bitcoin. But anyway, it's actually quite informative. If you ever get hacked and you want to know how to do it, this is a great education system. So, hackers have finally realized we can't get any money because nobody knows how to pay us. So they've come up with a self-help page.
There's nothing like a hacker that's that inventive that says, you know what, we need support services here.
It's a business. When it comes down to it, we have a support line. Hi, welcome to Bitcoin support. How can I help you? Yes, I just got. Oh, yes, thank you. We'll be right with you. We'll. So it just has this.
Do you know the name of your hacker?
Well,
can we put that up there?
Can we put? I don't know, but now you can go to a site. If you do get hacked, they'll actually assist you on how you can get your Bitcoins.
A rather bizarre way to use virtual reality now.
Well, we talked about how it can medically help students learn how to do an operation. Yeah. We've seen how it can, even from a point of cure. We talked about how virtual reality was actually giving the opportunity for medical students to engage in an environment of helping and talking about pain relieving. You put a helmet on and it takes you to a warm beach and it kind of removes all of the issues related to that. Well, now. And this, by the way, I think is ingenious. We talked about artificial intelligence earlier where they're diagnosing whether you're a repeat offender. On the opposite scale of this, now they're using artificial intelligence and VR in regards to giving that medical student the chance to break bad news. So when you actually have a situation where someone's got, unfortunately, a terminal ill disease, this will now be a solution for how they'll be able to break the news and deal with the response. How do you tell someone that their family member is critically ill, they're going to pass away, or they have actually passed on? And that's not an easy task. That isn't. It takes a lot of. You don't need a lot of experience to do this. So now they've actually instituted this in the medical field.
Can you use it to end relationships too?
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. You Snapchat now.
That's going to be the next step.
Exactly. You Snapchat, it goes away, and then you could say, "I told you." You can't repeat it or review it.
Yeah. Anyway, bizarre. How about a computer in my ear? This wireless headbud thing.
You know what? I'm a little bit kind of close to this because my family, my mother and my grandmother are hard of hearing, and they've had hearing aids for years. My grandmother can't hear a thing. I mean, I can't call her. I actually have to get her a new computer because she types when I talk to her regularly. So new hearing buds, and we kind of laughed at Apple. With those EarPods that they came, and we laughed, and they're like, no one's gonna wear these. They're ridiculous. You'll lose them. They're too expensive. Well, now there's new headphones. They're really going to be taking off to a point where they actually can be used for GPS directions. They can actually help you in regards to enhancing your hearing. They actually can also help you in regards to adjusting the volume. These earbuds that you would listen normally for your phone, discussions, and Bluetooth, go to a concert now. You can reduce the volume now with these earbuds. So now it actually can protect your ears as much as it is provide sound. But the real thing about these is the fact that it's going to track your health. We've got earbuds that can actually connect and link with your phone, your smartphone, your apps and otherwise. And what it's going to do is actually give you the benefit of health track, of being able to track your exercising modules, your actual medical experience in regards to hearing levels is key, but it's also it also can zero out sound. So it gives you a zero sound. You're on a train, a bus. We're going to be using a lot of public transport. Yeah. You can now put these earbuds in and zone it out. When you get to your stop, it will actually know where you are with the GPS and wake you up and let you know it's time to get off the train.
What a great idea.
It is. It's really cool.
But it's really effective, too, because, right now you only have one or two alternatives. Either, you live with the loud noise or you put those something that covers it up
Earmuffs,
altogether.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
now you've got a middle ground. You just turn the sound down.
Yeah, these earbuds are so unique in a way that they will adjust to the outside volume around you and be able to adjust accordingly. So if it's too loud, muffles it. If it's too quiet, it enhances it.
What's new with iPhone?
Well, iPhone's got a lot of cool things, but if you're going to be getting the new iPhone 8, one thing's a fact. You better have a lot of money. So kids, start saving your pennies if you can find a penny. But if you've got nickels, you might want to, or bitcoins for that matter, and if you go to a self-help from a ransomware, you may need a few bitcoins, because the one thing for a fact is the new Apple iPhone is going to be damn expensive.
Why?
Well, they've got a lot of benefits and features into this. First and foremost, it's going to be a lot faster. The benchmark they've set on this is quite enhanced. They've got a way more enhanced camera they've talked about. There's all of the benefits of what we can see coming out with this, but even when the iPhone 7 came out, it was not a cheap phone. It's going to be, at minimum, Canadian, $1,300 for your next iPhone when you actually have to go out and buy it. So from that standpoint, I have to say, you know what? Samsung's not cheap either. These S8s, they're out of control cost-wise. And, they're one of the best smartphones on the market. iPhone, I expect it to be phenomenal, but it's also going to be extremely expensive.
Be aware, and like you say, start saving up the money.
That's right.
I'm intrigued by this thing the UK government's going to try to do with Facebook.
Well, this is something I thought should have been done a while. We talked about this many times, where how is our privacy and our history when we're talking to whomever on the, you're being interviewed or so, we do crazy things. When we're teenagers, we are invincible. We do all sorts of crazy stuff. I got a little bit of history on my own. I think, Bill, I'm sure you do as well. But Facebook, when you post stuff, stays there. And you can delete one by one. Well, they're actually passing a law in the UK that's going, not just Facebook, by the way, I'm just using them as a great example, but it could be Pinterest, could be Instagram, wherever you may post or put all your information on. They're going to be actually passing a law that's going to force Facebook and social media to allow you to mass delete your past, and it's called the right to innocence or right to remove. And this is going to give you the right as an individual on Facebook and social media to, instead of going one by one, scroll by scroll, and you go down this long list of what did I do in 1998, this is now going to allow you to say, I just want to get rid of 1998. I'm just going to delete anything with this information. So the laws in the UK are passing that they have to give you mass ability to delete your past.
Now, when you say delete, does this delete it?
No, what it does is they're allowed to keep it on their Facebook file, okay? Because the government does want that.
Yes.
What they're not doing is making sure that you don't have to go one by one and searching for your information to remove it.
So like what you do with email, you can just delete all.
You can mass delete all, but it's still there.
Delete all button and boom,
it's gone.
5,000,
That's right.
old emails.
So right now, if you try to delete, you have to click a little arrow. You have to click delete. Do you accept? Yes, I do. Do you know you're going to be? There's about 7 steps to delete just one post.
You're a big fan of Android, obviously, and talk to us about this collaboration now with Audi and Volvo.
Okay, so we've talked about where Ford has gone with the QNX BlackBerry. They've hired like 600 programming engineers. Great. What we can see now is Android's actually going to be coming out with a operating system that's going to be integrated directly in the car itself. Audi and Volvo are going to be the first people. The R8 is going to actually have it. So think of it like this, where as opposed to your phone connecting to your car will now become the Android device. It will run everything native. When you upgrade Android, it upgrades your car. So it's actually going to make it much more seamless when you get in. If you're an Android user, you're going to love this feature.
Excellent stuff. We're out of time. Great to see you again.
Yeah,
Thanks
you
so
too,
much for
Bill.
this.
Thank you.